Chosen one. Heaven has orchestrated this very moment for you. You are not here by chance. You were summoned. This is a divine appointment aligned with perfect timing because you are standing at the threshold of a supernatural shift. Anointed one. The test you walked through was not to break you, but to reveal you. And now the Spirit of God is whispering that a divine reward, a financial breakthrough, a wealth transfer ordained in the heavens is drawing near. Deuteronomy 8:18 reminds us that it is God who gives the power to obtain wealth. Today that power is being stirred within you. Chosen one. Stay with me because what I am about to unfold is not merely information, it is divine recognition. The moment you pressed play, something in the unseen shifted. Whether you feel it or not, whether your emotions agree or not, heaven has already begun to move on your behalf. You are standing inside a spiritual moment where God is not whispering, He is declaring. And what He is declaring is simple, undeniable, and carrying the full weight of heaven's authority. You passed the test. That may not sound dramatic. It may not come wrapped in thunder or visions or angelic choirs. In fact, nothing about your journey looked supernatural. Everything came disguised as normal days, ordinary burdens, quiet suffering, unanswered prayers, delayed promises, and silent nights. But nothing in your life has ever been ordinary. Not one moment of your wilderness was random. Not 1 hour of your waiting was wasted. Not one tear fell without purpose. You thought God was ignoring you, but He was observing you. You thought heaven was silent, but heaven was studying your heart. You thought your prayers disappeared into the dark, but they were being weighed, measured, and recorded with precision. The wilderness you walked through was not a barren place. It was a proving ground. And the silence you endured was not abandonment. It was evaluation. The loneliness you survived was not emptiness. It was elevation in disguise. I know that kind of season because I've walked through it myself, nights where the silence felt suffocating, where doubt crawled into the edges of my faith, where I whispered, God, are you still with me, into a room that felt painfully still. And yet, those were the very seasons that shaped me. Those were the battles that sharpened my discernment, cleansed my intentions, and prepared me for blessings that required a heart stronger than my emotions. And that is exactly what has been happening inside you. Every moment you were overlooked, heaven whispered, I'm testing. Every door that stayed shut, heaven said, I'm refining. Every time you chose peace over retaliation, heaven said, I'm taking notes. Every act of quiet obedience, every prayer you whispered into your pillow, every lonely yes that cost you more than anyone knows, heaven said, I'm recording this. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. You were not delayed. You were being developed. And now, chosen one, heaven has reached its verdict about you. Heaven has found you faithful. And because you were faithful in the unseen, heaven can trust you in the visible. Because you remained steady in the dark, God can elevate you in the light. Because your character proved true under pressure, you are now qualified for what your calling requires. Hear me, your heart is the reason heaven is opening the next chapter. Your posture is the reason blessing is accelerating. Your consistency is the reason doors are loosening. What felt like breaking was shaping. What felt like silence was strategy. What felt like delay was divine timing. You didn't grow bitter, you grew deeper. You didn't harden, you became holy. You didn't walk away, you leaned in. You didn't collapse, you clung to God's hand. Heaven watched all of it, and heaven responded. You didn't see the applause, but the angels stood. You didn't hear the trumpet, but favor wrote your name. You didn't feel the shift, but the throne declared, approved, faithful, tested, proven, and this is why everything suddenly feels like it's trembling, rearranging, repositioning. You're not stepping into an ordinary moment. You're entering a sacred transition, the kind where God does not just restore, He promotes. The kind where He does not just lift you, He launches you. The kind where He does not just bless you, He transfers resources, opportunities, connections, and spiritual authority into your hands. The heavens waited to see your heart, and now that your heart has been revealed, heaven can finally release what was always yours. Chosen one. Hear this and let it settle deep. You passed the test. And because of that, heaven is preparing the release. A chosen one. Now that heaven has declared its verdict over your life, you must understand what truly happened in the silence, what took place behind the veil while you were questioning your worth, your progress, and even your prayers. The silence was never punishment. It was never God turning His face away from you. It was the sacred classroom where heaven measures what cannot be taught by sermons, applause, or signs. Silence is where heaven sees the truth of a person, not the version they show the world, but the version they are when no one is watching. And you, anointed one, were found faithful in that quiet place. While others worship only when they feel blessed, you worshipped when you felt broken. While others serve out of convenience, you served from conviction. While others praise God after the victory, you praised Him in the middle of the valley. Heaven weighed your heart, and your heart carried the weight of loyalty. Chosen one. When everything was stripped away, the encouragement, the clarity, the confirmations, something powerful happened. Your faith learned to speak without evidence. Your trust learned to breathe without reassurance. Your spirit learned to stand without support. That kind of faith cannot be faked. It is forged. And only those who endure the pressure of silence ever birth that kind of unshakable conviction. You lived through nights where your heart was shattered, yet you still whispered, "I trust you." And those whispers were louder in heaven than any public prayer you have ever spoken. You need to know this. Your quiet surrender counted. Your hidden tears counted. Your unseen obedience counted. Heaven has recorded every one of them. There is a reason you felt like everything in your life was being delayed. Every dream seemed postponed. Every prayer seemed unanswered. Every door seemed sealed shut. It looked like you were falling behind. It looked like life was punishing you. It looked like God was ignoring you. But what appeared to be denial was actually development. God was not preparing the blessing, He was preparing you. He was strengthening your spirit so you could carry the weight of the next dimension without collapsing under it. He was stretching your patience so your character could match the size of your calling. He was refining your motives so that when the blessing arrives, it doesn't destroy you. God never wastes delay. Delay is the womb of destiny. And now, chosen one, you are carrying a version of yourself you did not have before. You survived seasons that were designed to break you, but instead they built you. You walked through fires that should have consumed you, but instead they purified you. You endured storms that should have drowned you, but instead they deepened you. And this is why heaven is responding now. Not because you prayed louder or worked harder or proved yourself to people, but because you remained surrendered when surrender felt like loss. Heaven rewards obedience that costs something. I want you to see something clearly. You are no longer who you were when this journey started. Your spirit is stronger. Your discernment is sharper. Your patience is deeper. Your faith is purer. Your heart is quieter but wiser. You are not fragile anymore. You are fortified. You are not desperate anymore. You are disciplined. You are not confused anymore. You are called, And that transformation did not happen through blessings. It happened through breaking. It happened through pressure, through tears, through prayers you didn't even have the strength to finish. Chosen one. Look at yourself honestly, not through the lens of trauma, but through the lens of triumph. You endured seasons that would have destroyed others. You carried pain that would have made others bitter, yet you stayed soft. You faced betrayal that would have closed other people's hearts, yet yours remained open. You navigated spiritual warfare that would have collapsed others, yet you kept moving forward. You do not realize how strong you have become because your strength grew in the dark, slowly, quietly, without applause. But heaven saw everything, and heaven is the only audience that matters. The season you are entering now is not a casual season. You are stepping into the kind of chapter where God reveals why the battle was so heavy, why the silence was so long, why the tests were so intense, and why the pressure was so unrelenting. It was because heaven was preparing to trust you with more influence, more opportunities, more authority, more spiritual power, and yes, more provision. Supernatural provision always follows supernatural perseverance. You have endured the testing. Now you stand at the edge of the transfer. This is why everything around you feels like it's shifting. The atmosphere is changing. Your spirit is becoming alert. Your dreams are getting clearer. Your discernment is waking up. The reason is simple. The season of silence is ending, and the season of unveiling is beginning. What was hidden is about to be revealed. What was promised is about to manifest. What was delayed is about to be delivered. And what was withheld is about to be released, not gradually, but suddenly. Chosen one. The silence formed you. The waiting refined you. The hidden battles strengthened you. And now heaven is ready to reward you. You were tested, you were proven, and now you will be promoted. Chosen one. Now that heaven has marked you as approved, you must understand what that approval truly means. It is not merely a spiritual stamp, it is a divine authorization. When God approves someone, everything connected to that person must shift circumstances, resources, relationships, and even enemies. Approval from heaven changes the laws of your life. It rewrites what you thought was possible. It cancels what the enemy wrote against you. And it announces to every unseen realm that your story is no longer being shaped by struggle alone, but by purpose. You have crossed from being processed to being positioned. Chosen one, hear this with clarity. Every season you endured was constructing something in you that heaven could trust. God is not careless with elevation. He never places weighty assignments on unstable foundations. He does not put crowns on untested heads, and he does not deposit wealth into hearts that are easily corrupted. That is why your journey required such pressure. The pressure was not there to crush you, it was there to prove you. And now that proof has been seen, heaven is preparing to place something in your hands that will not only bless your life, but impact the lives of those connected to you. What you experienced was not a random chain of hardships. It was preparation for stewardship. Heaven has always been mindful of what you will be responsible for. The calling on your life is not small. The influence assigned to you is not trivial. The mantle over you is not light. You are called to carry things that require depth, discipline, and discernment. And so God used seasons of testing to carve out the character needed for the next dimension. You felt like everything was being taken from you, but in truth, everything unnecessary was being stripped away so that what remained would be unshakable. I want you to think back to the moments when you wanted to quit, when exhaustion pushed against your ribs, when loneliness wrapped itself around your chest, when disappointment bruised your hope. Every time you chose to stay faithful, despite the pain, you were participating in a divine transaction. In heaven, those moments are not seen as weakness. They are seen as warfare. They are recorded as victories. When you continued trusting while breaking, heaven saw strength. When you held on to God while everything else slipped away, heaven saw loyalty. When you loved people who did not deserve it, heaven saw your heart. This is why heaven now declares, "This is a vessel I can use." Chosen one. You are stepping into the kind of season where everything will begin to make sense. The confusion is lifting, the fog is thinning. The questions that tormented your mind are about to be answered not by explanation, but by manifestation. God does not always explain why he took you the long way. Sometimes he simply brings you into the promised place, and everything that once felt painful becomes purposeful. This is what is happening in your life now. The long nights of feeling unseen. They taught you to rely on God's presence more than people's attention. The unanswered prayers. They taught you to hunger for God's will, not just his gifts. The disappointments, they trained your endurance. The betrayals, they trained your discernment. Everything was forming you, chosen one. This is why heaven is ready to release blessing, because your heart is no longer attached to the things that once distracted you. You've learned to let go. You've learned to surrender. You've learned to trust beyond emotion. And you've learned to give God your yes, even when your circumstances gave you no reason. Heaven can bless you now, because the blessing will not become your idol. Heaven can elevate you now, because elevation will not corrupt your identity. Heaven can transfer wealth to you now, because wealth will not distort your worship. Your heart has been purified through the fire. And now, the reward is not just coming, it is already written into your timeline. Heaven has prepared divine appointments, open doors, supernatural favor, and accelerated breakthroughs with your name on them. But more than that, God is ready to trust you with spiritual authority, the kind of authority that doesn't come from talent, charisma, or influence. True authority comes from surviving what should have broken you. It comes from walking through fire without losing your worship. It comes from standing in silence and still choosing surrender. The authority you carry now is different from before. You speak differently, you pray differently, you love differently, you walk differently, you discern differently. Because everything in you has been reshaped by God's hand. Your wounds became wisdom, your tears became oil, your waiting became strength, your heartbreak became depth. And all of it positioned you for a kind of blessing that cannot be reversed by human opinion or spiritual attack. Chosen one. Your life is no longer in the season of testing. You are in the season of unveiling. Everything hidden, your gifts, your growth, your faithfulness, will now be revealed publicly. Heaven is not just restoring what you lost. Heaven is revealing who you have become. The wilderness didn't weaken you, it weaponized you. And now heaven is ready to release what your endurance has earned. You were crushed, but not destroyed. You were stretched, but not broken. You were tested, and now you will be trusted. Chosen one. Now we must go deeper into the truth you've carried without even realizing it. Heaven was not only watching your endurance, heaven was watching your reactions. The test was never about what you could achieve, it was about what you would become. In the quiet places where no one applauded, no one encouraged you, no one noticed your sacrifice, heaven was studying the posture of your heart. And your heart-anointed one revealed something rare in this generation, a surrender that did not depend on reward, a faithfulness that did not depend on validation, a trust that did not depend on clarity. Chosen one, you must understand the magnitude of this. Most people worship when things go right. Most people obey when life is comfortable. Most people remain kind when they feel appreciated. But you remained faithful, even when your soul ached, even when doors refused to open, even when the outcomes made no sense. You kept giving, kept believing, kept forgiving, kept praying. You lived the scripture that says, "To the pure, all things are pure," not because you were perfect, but because your motives stayed aligned with heaven, even when your emotions did not. This is what separates you. This is what qualified you. Heaven cannot promote what heaven cannot trust, and heaven trusts you now. There is a reason the warfare intensified before the shift. The enemy always fights hardest when heaven is preparing to release something generational. You probably noticed it, the strange heaviness, the random discouragement, the sudden battles, the moments where everything seemed to collapse at once. Those were not coincidences. They were coordinated spiritual attacks designed to stop your growth before you realized how powerful you had become. But instead of collapsing, you kept standing. Instead of retreating, you kept advancing. Instead of cursing God, you clung to Him. What the enemy meant to break you only built you. Chosen one, I need you to see how heaven interpreted your resilience. While you were crying, heaven said strength. While you were frustrated, heaven said faith. While you were exhausted, heaven said endurance. While you felt overlooked, heaven said obedience. Every moment that looked like failure was actually proof. Every weakness was counted as worship. Every tear became oil. Your pain was translated into spiritual authority. This is why the next season of your life cannot look like the last. The growth you have gone through is irreversible. The wisdom you have gained is permanent. The depth you now carry cannot be undone. You are not returning to who you used to be. You have evolved spiritually, emotionally, and prophetically. You have crossed a threshold you cannot uncross. And heaven is about to reveal the version of you that was shaped in hiddenness. Chosen one, listen. The same God who allowed the wilderness is now the God who is calling you out of it. You are stepping into a season where God will begin to publicly reveal what He privately refined in you. Your humility will be honored. Your surrender will be rewarded. Your loyalty will be recognized. What was once ignored will now be highlighted. What was once hidden will now be brought into view. And what once felt like loss will now be revealed as preparation. You've wondered why certain relationships fell apart, why specific people left your life, why God removed individuals you thought would be permanent. Here is the truth. Your heart needs to hear. Not everyone was qualified to witness your elevation. Some were removed because their presence would have corrupted your next level. Some were distanced because their jealousy would have interfered with your blessing. Some were pushed out because they could not handle the version of you that was emerging. God did not subtract from your life. He protected it. Chosen one. Heaven has been guarding your circle because heaven is preparing your platform. There are places you are about to step into that require spiritual purity, emotional stability, and discernment. That is why God filtered your relationships. Not to isolate you, but to insulate you, to keep your spirit uncontaminated as you rise into influence. And now the season has come where your obedience will begin to speak louder than your pain. What you endured is about to be matched by what you receive. Heaven wastes nothing. Tears become seeds. Brokenness becomes oil. Waiting becomes wisdom. And suffering becomes spiritual stature. Everything you lived through was shaping your future self, the version of you heaven plans to use mightily. Chosen one. The doors that once resisted you will soon respond to you. The opportunities that were once delayed will now chase you. The blessings that felt withheld will now be released in waves, not because God suddenly decided to favor you, but because the version of you required for the blessing has finally arrived. You are stepping into alignment, and alignment always activates acceleration. This is why heaven is smiling, not because the journey was easy, but because you did not quit. You endured the test, and now the test has become your testimony. You survived the breaking, and now the breaking has become your making. You remained surrendered, and now surrender has become your strength. You passed the test, chosen one. Now heaven is preparing the reward. Chosen one, as we continue, you must understand that heaven's timing is perfect, not fast, not slow, but exact. It may have felt like everything in your life was lagging behind, but in reality, everything was aligning. You were not waiting for the blessing was waiting for you, waiting for your heart to mature, waiting for your spirit to stabilize, waiting for your character to match the weight of the calling resting on your shoulders. And now that alignment is here. Heaven is ready. Your spirit is ready. Your future is ready. Chosen one. What you are stepping into next is not a coincidence. It is compensation. It is not a random breakthrough. It is the fruit of endurance. It is not a sudden shift. It is a long-awaited unveiling. The years where you felt unseen, unheard, undervalued, and overlooked were not wasted. They were accumulating interest in the spirit. You sowed tears, and now you will reap joy. You sowed obedience, and now you will reap opportunity. You sowed loyalty, and now you will reap legacy. Heaven has never forgotten a single seed you planted in faith. You need to understand why the battle intensified at the end. The final stretch is always the hardest. Right before breakthroughs, life often feels like it's breaking apart. Right before elevation, things feel unstable. Right before God opens the door, every door seems to shut at once. That happened because the enemy saw what you could not. He saw you approaching the threshold of a new dimension, a level he could not follow you into. When you felt the pressure increase, you were not failing. You were crossing over. And now, chosen one, the time has come. You are entering a season where your yes will speak louder than your wounds, where your consistency will outweigh your questions, and where your obedience will unlock what your strength could never force. Heaven is not asking you to push your way into what's coming. Heaven is simply asking you to receive it. And here is the shift you must understand. The wilderness trained you for responsibility, but the next season will train you for reward. In the wilderness, you learned endurance. In this season, you will learn expansion. In the wilderness, you learned surrender. In this season, you will learn stewardship. You are no longer surviving. You are being established. You may not feel prepared, but you are ready. The pain made you ready. The silence made you ready. The pressure made you ready. The heartbreak made you ready. The loss made you ready. Everything that tore you down was actually building the version of you required for elevation. Chosen one. There is a new confidence rising inside you, not from ego, but from identity. You are beginning to walk like someone who knows heaven has endorsed them. You are beginning to speak like someone who has survived what was meant to silence them. You are beginning to move like someone who knows favor is following them. This confidence is holy. It is not pride. It is awareness of who you became through the fire. And now, heaven is placing new assignments in your hands. Opportunities you once envied will now be entrusted to you. Doors you once stared at will now swing open for you. People who once doubted you will now witness your transformation, not because you asked for it, but because you qualified for it. Heaven never gives promotion without preparation, and you have been thoroughly prepared. Chosen one. Listen, the next blessings in your life will not be small. They will not be subtle. They will not be quiet. When God reveals someone He has refined, He does it boldly. These blessings will reveal the difference between where you were and who you have become. They will separate the old version of you from the new. They will vindicate your tears, validate your sacrifices, and confirm your faithfulness. You have passed the test. Now, heaven says, arise. Chosen one. Now that heaven has declared you ready, you must prepare your spirit for what happens when God begins to move suddenly. You see, blessings rarely arrive gradually. When heaven opens a door, it opens all at once. When God says, now everything that once resisted you must bow, and you are approaching a divine now, the spiritual atmosphere around you has been changing, subtle, quiet, almost imperceptible, but undeniable for those with discernment. The peace that replaced your old anxiety, the clarity that suddenly appeared after seasons of confusion, the strength that rose up in you, even when nothing changed outwardly. These were signs, divine signals, indicators that something has already shifted in the unseen. Chosen one. The warfare you survived was not random. It was the final resistance before breakthrough. The enemy always fights hardest when he knows he is losing influence. The heaviness, the sudden discouragement, the emotional pressure, the mental battles, those were not signs of failure. They were signs of transition. You were not breaking down. You were breaking open. The weight you felt was not punishment. It was the weight of a door that was unlocking from the inside. And now that door is opening. You see, heaven hasn't simply watched your obedience. Heaven has been aligning resources, redirecting connections, positioning opportunities, and recalibrating timelines. While you were enduring storms, heaven was preparing a stage. While you were wrestling with doubt, heaven was arranging divine appointments. While you were crying out for relief, heaven was preparing release. And now the convergence is here, the merging of everything you've prayed for, waited for, and fought through. But, chosen one, this next season is not just about receiving blessing. It is about carrying responsibility. Heaven is trusting you with influence, with authority, with expansion. You have been trained in hiddenness so you can be trusted in visibility. You've been strengthened privately so you can stand publicly. You've been refined quietly so you can rise loudly. Nothing in your journey was wasted, not the tears, not the rejection, not the delays, not the disappointments. Heaven used every part of it to build a version of you that can hold what's coming. And what is coming is weighty, not heavy in burden, but heavy in glory. You will carry favor differently. You will make decisions differently. You will walk with authority, not insecurity. You will speak with clarity, not hesitation. Because you have learned that power without purity is dangerous, and God has purified you. Chosen one, there is a part of you that no longer fits where you've been. You may have felt restless lately, not in frustration, but in anticipation, as if something inside you outgrew your environment. That feeling was not imagination, it was elevation. Your spirit knows when it's time to rise before your circumstances reveal it. That inner stretching, that holy dissatisfaction, that sense that I cannot remain where I am, that was heaven preparing you for movement. And movement is coming, but not movement from chaos, movement from calling, not movement from pressure, movement from purpose. You are shifting into a season where your gifts will make room for you, where your presence will shift atmospheres, where your discernment will guide your steps, and where your obedience will unlock blessings that were once unreachable. And perhaps the most important truth you must understand is this: your promotion is not just about you. Heaven is elevating you because there are people attached to your assignment. There are lives waiting for your voice, destinies waiting for your courage, breakthroughs waiting for your obedience. You are not being blessed simply to receive. You are being blessed to become a vessel, a carrier of God's goodness, influence, and authority. Chosen one, heaven is proud of you. You passed tests that others never saw. You endured seasons no one knew about. You grew in silence. You matured in the shadows. You became strong in solitude. And now heaven will reward you openly for what you walked through privately. This is your rising. This is your release. This is your moment. You survived the proving. Now you step into the proving ground of purpose. Chosen one, as you enter this next stretch of your journey, you must understand that heaven is not only elevating you, heaven is entrusting you. You are stepping into a chapter that requires spiritual maturity, emotional strength, and a heart anchored in God's voice. The promotion coming to your life is not random, not accidental, and not the result of human effort. It is the result of a divine evaluation that took place in the unseen. Heaven examined your heart in seasons where you felt forgotten. Heaven weighed your intentions when you had nothing to gain. Heaven tested your resilience in moments when your strength was gone, and heaven found you faithful. Chosen one. This new dimension you are entering carries a different weight, not the weight of burden, but the weight of glory. You will begin to notice that the atmospheres around you respond differently when you walk into a room. Your presence will carry a spiritual authority that unsettles darkness, comforts the wounded, and attracts the favor of God. This is not something you can manufacture. It's the result of being forged, refined, and purified through trials that stripped away ego, fear, insecurity, and doubt. You don't carry the same spirit you once carried. There is a depth to you now, a depth earned through tears, through loss, through confusion, through endurance. And because of this, heaven is assigning you to roles you once prayed for and others you never imagined. Your influence will no longer be tied to your past limitations. Your voice will no longer be silenced by old wounds. Your decisions will no longer be sabotaged by fear. You have crossed over into a realm where purpose speaks louder than pain. The old version of you, the timid version, the uncertain version, the wounded version has been buried in the wilderness. And the new version of you is rising with clarity, with conviction, with confidence, shaped by fire. Chosen one. One of the signs that you're entering this new dimension is that you will begin to experience divine alignment. People who are connected to your destiny will appear unexpectedly. Opportunities that seemed out of reach will start opening without force. Answers you once struggled to find will begin flowing with ease. And the inner chaos that tormented your mind will start to quiet. This is not luck, it is spiritual synchronization. Heaven is bringing your life into harmony with your assignment. But with elevation comes separation. Not everyone who started with you will continue with you. Some people simply cannot breathe at the altitude you're rising to. Some relationships would have contaminated the purity God worked so hard to cultivate in you. Some environments would have suffocated your growth before you blossomed. So if doors closed, if people left, if connections dissolved, understand this truth: heaven permitted it. Sometimes protection feels like loss. Sometimes deliverance feels like abandonment. But God was removing what could not accompany you into the next level, and now as God positions you for greater responsibility, you must guard your spirit diligently. This next chapter requires sensitivity to God's voice. Favor can become a distraction if you're not rooted. Blessings can become a burden if they are mishandled. Opportunities can become traps if discernment is lacking. That is why God took his time developing your character. He needed to make sure the blessing would not break you. And now that your foundation is strong, he is adding weight to your assignment. Chosen one, you must also prepare for acceleration. What took years before will take months now. What felt impossible will become effortless. What once required striving will now require only obedience. This is the grace of divine timing. When heaven decides it is your time, no force can stop the release. You endured long enough. You waited long enough. You trusted long enough. Now heaven is rewarding you in ways that exceed your prayers. But perhaps the greatest shift you will experience in this season is internal. Your identity is aligning with your calling. You are no longer surviving, you are stewarding. You are no longer questioning, you are walking in authority. You are no longer begging for breakthroughs, you are becoming the breakthrough. Chosen one, this is your rise. The proving season is over. The unveiling is here. You passed the test. You impressed heaven. And now heaven is preparing to honor you publicly for what you endured privately. Chosen one. As we come to the final stretch of this divine message, you must understand something sacred. This is not just the end of a season. This is the unveiling of a new identity. You're not merely stepping forward, you're stepping into assignment, into authority, into destiny. Everything you endured was shaping you for this precise moment in time. Heaven has waited until your heart was steady, until your spirit was strengthened, until your motives were purified. And now the shift that once felt distant is standing at your doorstep. Chosen one. You are entering a chapter where what you carry will speak louder than what you say. The anointing on your life has deepened through seasons of pressure, and now that anointing will begin to produce fruit. This final stage of your transition is not about trying harder, it is about walking differently. You are no longer called to crawl through life, you are called to command it. Not through pride, but through purpose. Not through striving, but through surrender. You are stepping into a dimension where your obedience will create ripple effects in the spirit, where your presence will shift the atmosphere before you speak a word. And this next truth, anointed one, is what will carry you forward. God is trusting you with visibility. What he formed in secrecy is now ready for revelation. What he whispered to you in private will now echo in public spaces. Your voice will reach rooms your feet have not yet entered. Your influence will extend beyond your current resources. This is not because of your name, it is because of his name on your life. Heaven is endorsing you. Heaven is announcing you. Heaven is elevating you for reasons you do not yet fully see. But with this elevation comes stewardship. You must guard your time, your peace, your purity, and your discernment. Not out of fear, but out of understanding. You are carrying something holy. Your destiny is not casual. Your assignment is not common. And your life cannot be lived like everyone else's. God is calling you to a higher standard, not to restrict you, but to preserve the greatness he placed within you. The world may not understand it, but heaven applauds it. Chosen one, as you step into this new dimension, you will notice that your perspective shifts. The things that once triggered you will no longer move you. The wounds that once bled will no longer ache. The fears that once controlled you will no longer have authority. You have outgrown your old battles. You have surpassed your old limitations. You have evolved beyond the version of yourself that once questioned your worth. This is maturity. This is growth. This is elevation. And now heaven speaks this over you. What was delayed is now delivered. What was withheld is now released. What was hidden is now revealed. You are walking into a season where God will show you why every sacrifice mattered, why every tear counted, why every quiet yes was recorded. This is repayment. This is recompense. This is restoration, not of what you lost, but of who you became. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are stepping into a future that is larger than your past, brighter than your fears, and richer than your prayers. You passed the test. You impressed heaven. You remained faithful. And now heaven is ready to honor you openly for what you endured privately. This is your release. This is your arrival. This is your divine unveiling. Rise, chosen one. Everything you were prepared for is now preparing to meet you. Chosen one, as we close this sacred moment, receive this truth in your spirit. You did not just endure the test, you passed it, and heaven has already released the next phase of your destiny. You are standing inside your Kairos moment, the exact divine timing where what was promised begins to manifest. The transfer has begun, the shift is active, the blessing is in motion. Anointed one, walk forward, knowing heaven is pleased with your heart. Not your perfection, but your faithfulness. Stay aligned, stay sensitive. Stay surrendered, because what God is unfolding next will confirm every quiet yes you ever gave Him. If this word resonated with your spirit, mark it in the comments as your declaration of faith. Until next time, stay faithful, stay surrendered, and stay ready. Your elevation is already underway.